Okay, so something that clients ask a lot when they are considering or on GLP-1s is, can they take or should they take pre-workout or kind of supplements in general? So I want to talk about that and kind of give the answer that I give my clients. Before we get into it, just as a disclaimer, with any type of supplement, whether you're on GLP-1s, any other medication, or just in general, is always check with your doctor to make sure that it's safe for you or matches your needs. Or at a minimum, at least talk to your pharmacist to make sure there aren't drug interactions. So, barring that, assuming that you've done that first and then you're still trying to decide if it's the right choice for you, let's start with pre workout. So, pre workouts, just to give some clarity on them, they are just mostly a stimulant, sometimes with some extra vitamins mixed in. So, a caffeine type of supplement or other types of stimulants. The reason that stimulants are effective for what we think of as pre workout purposes is obviously it gives you energy, but there are studies that show that having caffeine or a stimulant in your system, a healthy stimulant in your system before you work out, can support fat loss and strength. So you would treat it for the most part like just taking a caffeine supplement. So there are things to consider with pre-workouts in general. It's kind of the same thing when you're on a GLP-1 if you've gotten approval from your doctor for them. And the main thing with a stimulant is it elevates your heart rate, which can result in nausea or dizziness or just generally feeling a little bit off, clammy, that kind of thing during workouts. So if you are choosing to take a pre-workout while you're on GLP-1s for your workouts, if it's been approved, make sure that you eat before you work out, and probably, depending on the person, at least like 30 minutes before you work out, so that some of that has been digested and processed through. That also means before you take the pre-workout as well. So like food, pre-workout, wait a little bit, and then go and start your workout. That is the rule for any pre-workouts because it helps with the nausea. And then, of course, GLP-1s can have basically the same effect because they both have an impact on your blood sugar and on your heart rate. So it's just the same recommendations that would normally be for a workout or for a pre-workout when you're on GLP-1s. It's just a little bit more imperative that you do that. So if your doctor has cleared you, it is perfectly safe to do. Just be aware of kind of your body and your symptoms with it. If you do find that if you're like a pre-workout person and you have been approved by your doctor to take the pre-workout, but you're finding that even with following the steps and eating before, you're not feeling great during your workouts and you're still getting those symptoms or they're being exacerbated, caffeine in general does a lot of the same stuff. It's not going to be as extreme, but that can help as well. So like a cup of coffee can also serve the same purpose. Um, and then the only other thing to think about pre-workouts is, like I said, a lot of them usually have some other type of like vitamin or nutrient or something else, some or other sort of supplement in them. BCAAs are a common one. So just make sure that when you're asking about it, that you are specific about which one you're taking so it can be approved appropriately. For our other supplements, the big ones that people tend to think of are creatine and protein. So protein, I'll start there because as we've mentioned in another video, protein's so important when you're on GLP-1s. So a lot of people on GLP-1s are encouraged to incorporate protein shakes because your appetite is low and it's a little bit easier to get in your protein if you can drink your protein. So again, always double check with things, but it's kind of a general yes for protein supplements, protein powders when you're on GLP-1s because it actually supports what the GLP-1 is doing and prevents some of the unwanted side effects of GLP-1. So probably yes with protein. The thing to keep in mind that I've had some clients unsure about is all a protein supplement is they've taken the protein out of a whole food source. So a plant-based whole food source or a meat-based whole food source or dairy or whatever. They've pulled the protein out, isolated it, and you're getting like just the protein. So it's not like a super like food that's going to make you build muscle any faster than you would. It is only to fill gaps in your diet. That's what all supplements are. They're just to fill in gaps they're not going to make your body do something any faster than it naturally would if you were to get all that in from your food. It's just to help you if you're having a really hard time getting in X nutrient. So yeah, protein powder, you're probably fine. And then the creatine. So this is one of the most studied supplements that has is the most evidence based in terms of what it's meant to do. So again, it should be safe on GLP-1s as long as you get approval. But what creatine is meant to do is it is one that does actually support a slightly more rapid muscle recovery, which means muscle growth. That can be really helpful when you're on GLP-1s because, as we've talked about in other videos, you're more likely to lose muscle mass on GLP-1s. So that might be one that you want to consider if that's one that you're concerned about, especially if you're really, really struggling to eat enough. It can be supportive of maintaining some of that muscle mass. So if you're struggling with protein or just muscle building and strength building in general, creatine can help to preserve some of that muscle, build a little bit more, get the most out of your workouts. It does also give you like a little bit of a strength and energy boost. Nothing like what a pre-workout does, but you'll feel like a little bit of a boost when you're training on creatine. So you can get some benefit out of that, like during the workout itself. So creatine is a great one if it's been approved for you. Protein is probably a blanket yes. Like choose a good, healthy protein, and it's totally fine to incorporate. And then the pre-workout is the one that there's the most stipulations for because of what it does to heart rate and blood sugar. Chances are most of them are okay, depending on your health, your heart, and that kind of stuff. If you've been prescribed GLP-1s, you'd probably be in a safe category for these things. And then the only other thing to consider, and this is for supplements across the board, it doesn't matter why you're looking for them or if you're worried about drug interactions, just when you're looking for these, trying to find something that's relatively clean and isn't like a a vague proprietary blend of weird stuff. Like if you see things that just say proprietary blend, they don't give you a lot of information. I would be a little concerned about that because there's not label transparency. So just be discerning when it comes to which one you're choosing and maybe reach out to someone in the health field or in the medical field to get that vetted. But that's the only other caveat to that. So check with your doctor and or pharmacist to make sure that this is all cleared. And then from there, it is just a listen to your body and work on filling in gaps in your diet with these supplements. Don't expect them to be a magic pill or anything.